Hi, guys. Happy Friday. I hope everyone's doing fantastic. Let's see if anyone's even on here. Hi, Sati. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. You are an early bird. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. So, I see there are some folks here. Say hello in the chat. I do not bite. I'd love to hear from y'all before I dig into what I want to dig into. How are y'all feeling today? Perfect. Then this is right on time, Miss Kiss So Good. She said, yes, this is needed because you're applying to jobs on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and you've been getting nothing but scammer calling all day, and you have to change your number now. Oh my goodness. That is awful. These raggedy scammers. Let me know if y'all can hear me okay. The air is on. It always cuts on as soon as I want to use my mic. It's like it's like the air knows when I'm trying to do something and the vent is right above me. So it's really loud, but I don't know if it's picking up in the microphone. So let me know if I'm all right. Okay, good. Yeah. So we're going to chat about how scammers are getting remote job seekers. And this is nothing new. Okay. This has been going on, but scammers have been, they're always evolving. If they could only put as much effort into being legitimate as they do being scammers, they'd be successful. Like they'd be really successful. But no, they got to be raggedy scammers. I'm going to show y'all just a little screenshot. And by the way, I am going to make I already made a video about this. Like, that's why I didn't post a video today. And then the other day I've been trying to film some stuff because I know when people come to my channel, they go to if people come to the channel, because a lot of times people don't click on the YouTube channels. They will click on what YouTube recommends for them to watch next. So if YouTube doesn't recommend it, they don't click on it. But then for the folks who do click on the channels, they usually just go to the main videos, and YouTube separates live videos. So I was thinking ahead and I said, I'm going to have to make a video that I post and then this live, just because I wanted to talk to y'all and I did not want to leave y'all high and dry. I know last week I was here and there, and then it kind of happened again this week, but for good reasons, okay? And I've just been working on stuff for y'all. So what are y'all saying? Yeah, I was pulling up a screenshot. And see, I can lose track just that quick. I really can. I'm good, Nicole. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Jill. Hi, Tai, Tabitha, Junebird, Spider Rider. Hey, hey, Heather, Rosette, Denise, Fiery Stone. Yeah, so we're going to talk about some ways that these raggedy scammers, yeah, because we're going to call them out. We're going to call them what they really are. They're raggedy. They don't have any business about themselves. They need to do better. And this is something that you're always going to have to deal with. So first and foremost, if you are new to the job search, maybe this is like your first rodeo, you might start to get discouraged because just like that comment I posted just a second ago, a lot of times, when you're first starting off, you're going to run into the scams first. And that's because you're not used to the order of operations, because there's absolutely an order of operations when looking for these online jobs. Okay. And so I'm going to share my screen real quick because I got a text message yesterday. I sure did. I got me a text message, and let's all take a look at this text message. Let's see if I can make it big enough without it looking weird. All right. Okay. I'm going to share my screen real quick with you guys because I want y'all to see what I see so that we can talk about it and we can learn about it. All right. Okay. So, and I still have my Christmas background. This was from the office party. I just never changed it. Do I have another scene? Let's see. Do they have? Anyway, I'm not going to get distracted. Y'all. Okay. So, this is a little bit pixelated because I blew it up. But what you may be experiencing if you are looking for a job and you're on these job boards, you might start getting these types of texts. You might start getting these emails. Okay. I want to be very clear about something. Nothing legitimate ever happens on these two platforms right here. Nothing legitimate ever happens on WhatsApp and Telegram. So if you don't take away anything, just know that a real recruiter, a real human resources professional will never reach out to you talking about WhatsApp and Telegram. It's just never, ever going to happen. Okay. So as soon as they say that, you say, oh, I can go about my business because this is a scam. Okay. But this was a text message that I got. It was, you see, it says yesterday at 7 a.m. And then it says, hello, I'm Elena from HR team at, and they were so lazy, they didn't even put the name of the company. And so then goes on to say, we have noticed that your resume has been well received in the marketplace and would like to introduce you to an exciting online opportunity. We are offering a flexible remote part-time/full-time position with completely free training. You can work around your own schedule and only need to commit about 60 minutes a day. Salaries range from $200 to $700 per day, and you're guaranteed to earn at least $8K per month paid daily? Huh? How's that work? Okay, all regular employees are also entitled to 15 to 25 days of paid annual vacation, 21 years of age or older. Blah, blah, blah. Have a great day. Okay, so we're going to use Elena, okay, as a learning lesson because there are multiple lessons in this. Now, I know y'all are some smarty pants on this channel, but remember, there are folks who are just getting started with their online job search. And even for the smarty pants that are here on this channel, okay, y'all are the smarty pants. I'm just the enthusiast here, but there are some lessons that I can point out here that's, I think, going to help everyone. So first things first, okay? There's something called, so when it comes to like getting jobs and whatnot, you may have heard of people talk about they're a recruiter or they do recruiting, or you may have heard someone say that they got their job because a recruiter reached out. The recruiter is oftentimes different from the person who you are going to be interviewing with and in the courtship process of a job for. So you might be on LinkedIn, for example, and maybe you are in marketing, and my background's in marketing. And maybe you have an active LinkedIn account where you're on there all the time. A recruiter might reach out to you. And if they do, they'll say, hey, we have this opportunity that we want you to apply to. We think you'd be a good fit. We want you to apply to it. So a recruiter is doing exactly what their title is. They're recruiting, they're looking, they're seeking people. But the key thing that I want y'all to take away from that is if you find yourself in talks with a recruiter is going to invite you to apply. You don't have the job yet because these are two separate things. The recruiter is inviting you to apply. Now, if you apply to the job and you get into the courtship process of the job, you have to interview first before any sort of offers and talks of next steps and you being a part of the organization happen. So if we go back to our reference here, okay, They say they're an HR, blah, blah, and it's been well received in the marketplace and would like to introduce you to an exciting online job opportunity. So right now, what it's sounding like is this is recruiter talk. Okay. Right now, this is sort of sounding like recruiter talk. We found your resume in the marketplace. Maybe you put it in that pile of applications on Indeed or, on whichever website you've been on. Okay. But then they switch from recruiter talk to job offer, human resources talk. So they say, we are offering a flexible, remote, part-time, full-time position. These are two different things. Either they found me and they're inviting me to apply, which is a real thing, but typically, if that is happening to you, you are doing, something real well in your industry and you're probably really active on LinkedIn. And I'm not saying it can't happen any other way. It's just 9 times out of 10, that's where people in, the recruiting and the job seeking spaces can link up in a legitimate way. So now they're offering you something. So, okay, lots of red flags have already been throwing out here. And then they say free training. Is it paid training? Is it what? And let me tell you guys about training. So you will never pay for training, ever, 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 unless, okay, the one exception to that rule, okay, the one exception to that rule is if you are doing a 1099 work opportunity and they are asking you to sign up for the training. A company that is very popular, that is vetted and has lots of information for you to find online with people who've actually done it. I have videos about actually doing that. Those are some of the very first videos I ever made on my channel. You'll find tons of information. That company is called Arise. They have it to where you sign up, you choose the client, and you pay for the training. At least that's how it was last time I looked, and I haven't looked in a while. But when I did that and I serviced with Arise, I signed up and I paid for my training. And sometimes, and I can't remember, this was so long ago, I'd have to go back and watch those videos that I made. I can't remember if I had to pay for my background and the, testing for, I don't know if you can say DRUGS on YouTube. I don't know if they'll, flag my video, but you have to do the testing. And so I went to this place near me and they had a whole bunch of people in there who were just getting ready to start their jobs and they had to do the testing first. Like, you know how that works. Okay. So I think I may have paid something like either 20 or so dollars for the training. Okay. And then Tabitha just said live ops is another one. Okay. So live ops, they offer you these work opportunities and you would have to sign up and pay for your training class. So other than a 1099 contractor who you can find lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of information about online, you will never, ever, 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 ever pay for training. Now, another 1099 company is called Working Solutions. And back during that time, I had this video where I compared all these different 1099s, and I actually have been saying I'm going to make an updated video about this for months. So I guess I need to do that now since it's on my mind. So I'm going to do that very, very soon. Because those videos were from like maybe 2018, 2019, something like that, long time ago. Okay. And so Working Solutions, worked with them many times, love the good folks over at Working Solutions. You don't pay for the training, but oftentimes the training isn't paid. And they have their own lingo, not just Working Solutions, but anything that's classified as like a 1099 opportunity. They don't call it a job, they call it a work opportunity. And they technically can't call it training. They call it the education. So you have to get educated on the client. So not to jump down a rabbit hole, just know from our little lesson, you will never pay for training. And with them, you don't pay for the training. It's, free to do, but, it's not paid training. Outside of a 1099 opportunity, training is always paid. Okay. Outside of a 1099 opportunity, training is always paid, because if you're doing work on behalf of a company, they legally have to pay you. Otherwise, that gets into something called wage theft. And I am not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I could. So back to our little learning lesson here, okay? So this is sketchy, red flag number, however many we're up to. And they say you can work around your own schedule and only need to commit about 60 minutes a day. Let's stop right here, okay? And this is something that I have to be very, very, very clear. And I need to make sure that we all are on the same page about this. The closest you will ever get to working when you want is those 1099 opportunities that I told y'all about. Okay? Because you are not an employee, they cannot tell you when you have to show up to work. However, the way around that is if their operating hours are from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., you can only schedule yourself in that time frame. So if you are trying to do something really flexible, that is your best bet. There is no such thing as any job online where you can just clock in when you get ready to and clock out. Now, if we get into the conversation of side hustles, then you might be able to find like survey taking websites or websites where like once you're registered, you're approved to do like some type of like typing, whatever. But those things are such a waste of time. That's why I never talk about that stuff, because you will be making pennies on the dollar and you will be spending hours of your time committed to doing work and you're just wasting your time. Okay. So that's why you never hear me talk about that, because all this stuff that's out there, I've tried it. I've researched it. I looked into it. I made sure that it was legit or not legit before I was like, okay, I'm not bringing y'all this mess. Because that's the thing. You'll see a lot of people talk about work when you want, clock in, clock out when you want to. And that gets you to click on the video. But then when you find out the details, it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm not making any money here. I can't survive off of, 3-4 hours of answering questions or transcribing, and then I get paid $10. Okay. In that time, you could have made way more if you were just doing something like, those 1099 call center type jobs. So to be very, very clear, okay, there is no such opportunity online where when you get ready, you can just clock in and make, money. The closest you will get is those 1099 contractor roles where you get to make your own schedule based on the client's hours of operation. And so usually you have to make your schedule about a week out. So if you are someone who, let's say, for example, I'm just going to use a common example. Let's say you are a stay-at-home mom and you're a stay-at-home mom and, your kids are really busy and active. They go to soccer, they go to swim lessons, piano, all of that stuff. Your day-to-day can sort of flip just like that. But that you have, after bedtime, a good solid 3 to 4 hours where it's that you're going to have that time. You could find a client that has hours that fit with what you're doing. So if the kids go to bed at 8 and the client is open until 12, you can schedule yourself from 8:30 to 12 a.m. and you can do that. And you make your schedule a week ahead of time. So maybe if, you got something going on, you're going out of town, you don't schedule yourself for that time. That is the closest that you can get to working whenever you want. So we are all on the same page here. I'm filibustering this, but I have to. There is no such thing as a make your own schedule, work whenever you want, that kind of thing. And the commitment is usually at minimum for those 1099 websites. The lowest I've ever seen is like 10 to 15 hours a week. But I only saw that for like TurboTax. Now, there might be another client that's on any of those websites where maybe they have like a low threshold, but a lot of times they're looking for somewhere between like 15 to 20 hours minimum to commit yourself. So an hour a day doesn't even make that, minimum. But if you were to, anyway, we are good on that, y'all. We're good on that. So let's move on. So salaries range from $200 to $700 per day. Let's think about that. Who's making $200 to $700 per day? So let's just say we're taking, let me get my little handy dandy calculator out here because, we can crunch some numbers. And I got to go soon, y'all. I know we got stuff going on. It's Friday, but I wanted to, come here and do a little lesson because I think this will help folks. Okay, so is my calculator showing? Y'all can't see my calculator. Why isn't my calculator showing? Hold on, let me see if I can do a different view. If y'all can't see my calculator, it's okay, and I'll just tell you what I'm punching in. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to figure that out. Okay, I have my calculator up, but y'all don't see it. So let's just say we take $200 a day. And let's just say on average, this person is getting paid $25 per hour. So we're just going to do 200 divided by 25. Okay. So that's 8 hours a day. Okay. And so salaries range from $200 to $700 per day. So you'd have to be working 8 hours a day, making $25 minimum to earn that 200 minimum that they say. So that means that they're telling you you're actually going to be making way more than that per hour. The numbers aren't making any sense. So we have another red flag. Hold on, y'all. Give me a sec. I got to answer this. Okay. Back, y'all. All right. So the numbers, the math ain't mathin'. It's not working out. Okay. And so then the next thing it says you are guaranteed to earn at least $8,000 per month paid daily. How does that work? Especially if I'm only working 60 minutes a day minimum. And all regular employees are also entitled to 15 to 25 days of paid annual vacation. Blah, blah, blah. There's so much wrong with this, and we just broke it down. Okay. Are you a recruiter offering me an opportunity to apply to, or are you, a human resources professional offering me a job? And I almost forgot one of the most important things that I can point out about that. You're never, ever going to receive a job offer until you interview. It never, ever, ever changes. Okay. So you look for a job, you apply to the job, you interview for the job, and you get a job offer. There's never a time where that middle part of interviewing is skipped. You're always going to interview for the job before you get a job offer. That is how that works. Like on Working Solutions, the interview is a pre-recorded one. You just answer the questions that they give you. And then if, someone who reviews it likes it, then they're going to offer you, that opportunity. Yeah, you're going to always do an interview. Okay. Now, when I did a rise, so when I'm talking about, interviewing whatnot, I'm talking mostly about you're an employee, even with that 1099 opportunity, working solutions, they still have an interview. Now, I remember when I did a rise, what I did was I signed up, I paid, and there was no interview. But the thing is, I had to pass training before I could start servicing. So the only time that that process is skipped is during like a 1099 opportunity. And that's not all of them. Because I remember I had applied to a live ops role just to see, what's this process like? And they invited me to a group Zoom session. And I was just doing it to get research and information and, put that information on, YouTube, my channel. I don't know if after that there was any sort of group interview situation or pre-recorded interview situation. So the one company that I can say with my own experience that there was never an interview was with Arise. But remember, y'all, the thing is with Arise, you're qualifying yourself every step of the way. If they say you're not ready for the opportunity, they can pull that plug and you're out of your $20, $50, whatever you paid for that class. So you have to show up to class. You have to have perfect attendance. You have to vet yourself and learn all of the client stuff before you can continue on. And even in the nesting phase, which is that portion right after the training, where you are, sort of having like your hand held a little bit, they are still vetting you. So the difference really is no difference other than you never sat down and talked to someone before you got into class where there was a teacher there training you on the client. But best believe you are going through all the same stuff that you would before you even actually get to start making money. So like their process, I mean, this isn't me trying to bash them or anything. It's like they've figured out how to eliminate doing interviews. You're going to qualify yourself. So if you're not up to par with the client because they're watching you and monitoring you while you are, in that nesting phase, if they don't think that you're ready, pull that plug and it's over for you. And it's happened to a lot of people and they won't come out and tell everybody, but see, I'm in this space, so I know what happens. And that's how they figure out if you are a good fit. So they're going to collect your money first and they're going to let you waste your time or spend your time learning the client. But if they don't like you, it's over for you. That's so that they collect a lot of money that way, but So you guys take this as a learning opportunity. When you are on these job boards and you're applying to jobs and you click that button where they say, hey, do you want to make your resume discoverable? This is how these scammers are getting your information. It's from the job boards. So when you say, yeah, I want to make my resume and stuff discoverable, there is nothing stopping these scammers from being able to get access to that information. And I actually walk through that process in the video that I just filmed. And I'm going to show you exactly how they do it. So if you're looking for online jobs, don't get weary, but when you're looking for these jobs, just know you're never protected on any of these websites. Every last one of these websites has has scammers. You always have to verify that the company is a real company. I'm always talking about go to their Glassdoor, do a Google search of the company. You want to go see like their official website. You want to see that there's a lot of information on there. It's well put together. You want to go to their socials If they have a brick and mortar location, you want to like reverse search it just so you can see like from the Google camera that they have, like, okay, this is an actual building. Okay. You want to go to their LinkedIn account. You want to see the people who work there at the company. You want to see all of that information when you are verifying a company. So I'm always talking about like, hey, I found a new to this channel company. These aren't new companies. It's just I've never talked about them before. There are tons and tons and tons and tons of companies out here, y'all. Like the mega list of jobs. Let's see. What number are we on? There are 698 companies on the mega list of jobs. Okay. These are just companies that I have shared. So what you gotta, think when you see that is if this is the companies that one person has been able to share over the years on YouTube, imagine how many more companies there are out there. And this is just specific to they've offered a remote position before that I've shared. So there's a lot of companies out here. You just got to do your due diligence. Always Google search them, go to their website, go to their social media accounts. A lot of companies have a Facebook page. A lot of them have an Instagram. Companies are doing TikToks and stuff. I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of companies are. They have YouTube channels as well. Definitely go to their LinkedIn account. Look at who works there, click on their profile, see that it's a real person who's worked at places and gone to school. You want to do all of that when you're just getting introduced to a company. And I always say it in like every video, make sure you're applying directly through the company's website, just so that you're, super sure that you are giving the right person your information. And that's how you can protect yourself online and avoid a lot of these scams. So whether you're, falling for a scam or someone's bringing a scam to you, never let, what kind of money they're waving around in your face make you not do your due diligence. Always do your due diligence, y'all. Always. Okay. Because these scammers, and see, this one was a blatantly obvious scam. Like this one is like, come on, Elena, you got to try harder than that. But there are some that are very convincing. Okay. They are very convincing. That's why you always have to do those steps that I just listed so that, you catch them, because you're going to catch them. The thing about scammers is they're lazy. That's why they're scamming. They're raggedy, they're scammers, and they're lazy. What a dreadful combination. Okay. So there's always going to be something that doesn't line up when you do that whole process, and you're going to be able to catch it. That's how you're going to be able to be like, oh, that's a scam. Let me go somewhere else. Okay. That's how that works. So let me go to the chat because I haven't really been looking at what y'all have been saying. And let me stop my share. Okay, so let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. I have seen a thumbnail talking about something happened in Atlanta, but I didn't click on it. And someone else had mentioned it in a comment, and I had, said, okay, I'm gonna check that out, and I never did. What happened? Yep, it is best to apply on the company's website. Yep. Hi, Nicole. I shared a lead yesterday for a night position and a weekend position. You just got to be on the job boards daily when you're looking for, like a night job, but never be desperate, because that's what scammers try and prey on. If you're desperate, you're going to start cutting corners and, fall for a scam. So never get to the point of desperacy when you're looking for these online jobs, because the thing is, well, I would love for there to be, enough online jobs for everybody who wants one. It's very competitive. there are more people wanting a remote job than remote jobs available at the moment. So there's tons of remote jobs, but there are also tons and tons of people who want to work remotely. Like literally everybody wants to work remotely. So if everybody you know wants to work remotely, you know that there's always going to be more people than opportunities, even though there's tons of opportunities. Okay, I'm able to share videos with multiple leads every weekday and have done so for years, but there are still, more people than opportunities. So with that being stated, just make sure you're on your A game, putting your best foot forward, customizing with the remote resume builder software. All right, shameless plug, but we have resources, and join Extra Leads Club because that's where folks hear about these hot leads first. Okay, Darren. Oh, thank you for the $4.99. You said my uncle kidnapped my grandma's dog and it's causing a ruckus on my dad's side of the family. We have filed police report and set court date. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know if you're trolling, but if you're not, that's crazy. I hope y'all get y'all's dogs back, your dog back. Thank you. I appreciate this live because I've dealt with scammers while trying to get work from home. Thank you. And here's the thing. Everyone, including myself, have dealt with scammers while trying to work from home. The very first thing that I ever did from home was a scam. It was a scam. I've told this story many times before, but and I gotta go. I gotta get going. But this was back in 2016. I had already signed on to be a remote tutor. So I used to tutor for the SAT, the ACT. I did tutoring back in college. So like I worked multiple jobs. And one of the things that I did that was a job, but also like a passion kind of thing, was I worked on campus as an early college tutor. So I had a group of kids who like I'd have to go sit inside their classes, and they were kind of like undercover because they were actually high schoolers who were taking college classes, but they never wanted anybody to know that they were in high school. So I'd be sitting in their classes, like monitoring, them and like the teachers and stuff. And then we would meet in a room that I would schedule and like book in the library, help them with their homework. And like we do different like activities on campus and stuff together. So it was like I was their tutor. I had like a group of, it was maybe like 8 to 10 kids. And I did that for years in college. And then I also would go off campus to Washington High School. If you're familiar with Atlanta, I was a part of a boys program where I basically did the same thing, but on at the school. So a lot of the kids who were in the early college program at Georgia State, they were also in the boys program that I tutored at. So that was stuff that I was used to doing. So when I was working from home or had just gotten started, one of the very first things that I did was I became a tutor and I taught the test prep. But then before that, in the meantime of our training class, I had found this job where I was supposed to cancel people's subscriptions for like a credit report thing. And so here's the thing about scams, and it took me years of like doing this and looking at leads every day for years and stuff. There are levels to scams. Just because you got paid doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. And anyway, what I was doing was I had to do my own training, so it was self-paced. I never spoke to anybody in the company, y'all. I never spoke to anyone. No one interviewed me. I was just doing like these module training things. And then it was like, all right, you're all set to start working. And so I had my little headset on. I got my headset right here. So I had my little headset on, and I was taking calls, and the calls would come through and they'd be like, hey, I don't know what this is. I need you to cancel this. And I'm like, okay. And so the way I got paid was super scammy. Okay. The way I got paid was this: if people did not cancel, I got like a bonus. Even when people canceled, if they filled out a survey and gave me a good review, I got paid. But here's the thing: if they gave me a bad review, it would take like 3, 4 times the money that I would get if they did a good review. Me saying this out loud sounds ridiculous. Every time I think about this, it's ridiculous. But I got like a $500 check. And see, here's the thing: I would tell folks, because I got smart. I was like, yeah, can you leave a 5-star review? My manager, has been really on me and stuff. Y'all, I'm telling y'all the truth, okay? Yeah, that sounds bad. Your favorite remote work enthusiast was playing folks. But the thing was, hey, just press that button on your phone. They just had to press the 5 button. And then I would get something like $8. Yeah. But if they gave me a review that was like low, maybe like under a 3 or something, then it would take like $20 or something like that. So I was playing. I was playing along. I said, yeah, my manager's really been on me. Just leave a good review. So I got paid, but here's where it was a scam. Okay. One day I went to log in and it was gone. Okay. Without a trace. And at the time, I didn't understand what this was. I was just like, man, that's crazy. Like, had I done that first before I got hired to be a tutor, I would have been like, I'm not trying to do anything else. Like, I'm just going to be on the phone all day telling people leave me a good review. I'm so glad that I got hired first for my tutoring job and then found that one because it went poof. Okay. And so now I know that it was probably a money laundering thing. Like it had to do, there was something not quite right. And no, I'm not going to tell y'all the name of the company because that's always the next question folks want to know. What's the name of the company? And no, I have never seen anything like that ever since. And you guys, when I tell you I'm on these job boards daily, Extra Leads Club, me and my team are always on the job boards. I look at way too many leads to sound normal. Okay. I be looking at leads that have nothing to do with anything that I know someone would be interested in. So I know about these jobs, and I'm telling y'all, I have never seen anything like that since. Never seen anything like that since. And that was a scam. And what role I was playing in it, I was probably helping the company look legitimate. They made their money and they did the dash. So you would never want to be involved in anything like that. And even if I came across something like that these days, I would never share anything like that. And, you guys may have noticed, I don't really share side hustles. I don't really share any of those, click a button and get PayPal payments over and over again. I don't share that kind of stuff because that stuff, easy come, easy go. A lot of that stuff is scammy. You're gonna get a virus on your computer, and if you get paid, it's gonna be a couple cents on the dollar. But yeah, and see, that's also why I understand a lot of times when it comes to a scam, you got to be complicit in it. See, at the time, I was this was like my early 20s. Okay. Early 20s. I don't have kids. I'm not married. And I'm like, hey, if it turns out that they end up stealing my social security number and emptying my bank account, all 2 nickels in my bank account. Okay. So I knew what I was signing up for. I knew. I said, hey, I'll take the chance. And I was playing right along. But I would never do that now. I've upped my integrity. I've upped my moral conviction. I would never do something like that now. But yeah, I was playing along. And so that's why I understand when folks, end up doing these jobs where someone tells you cash a check, you get to keep some, but you got to send some. I know what's going through their mind. They're like, yeah, if it turns out to be a scam, then I'll just plead ignorance to the bank. but I know it could be a scam. That's what most people are thinking when they do that, and never cash a check. Y'all, I would love to keep chatting, okay? But I'm getting ready to go. Now, before I close out, I got to let y'all know, okay? Shameless plug. We are in the midst of the spring workshop series, okay? And so we already did how to find online jobs like a pro. And then 2 weeks ago, we had customized in a jiffy, okay? That was our 8 a.m. workshop. And I loved it so much. And folks really loved these workshops, so much so that the support desk has been getting questions about when we are going to do how to find online jobs like a pro again. And I've had people be in my comments like, hey, I missed it live. Can you do it again? So guess what we're going to do? We're going to do it again. And tomorrow is my son's last soccer game of the season, so I can do another 8 a.m. workshop. Okay, so next Saturday, we are going to bring back how to find online jobs like a pro. And I asked y'all in a survey on my channel this week. Let me go to my channel and see what the final numbers were. Give me just a second, and I'll see what the numbers were for that one. Let's see. Where is that survey? Okay, right here. Let's see if I can drag this over this way so y'all can see it. Oh, it might help if I share my screen. Okay. So this is what y'all said in the survey. Y'all said, because I asked y'all, because I was going to do another workshop, like different than the last two, but y'all said by and large that y'all need help with finding remote jobs. So we are bringing back how to find online jobs like a pro workshop. And let me show y'all how to register, because I also have a coupon. Okay. So if you want to register for the workshop, the link is in the description box. We are going to meet next Saturday from 8 to 9:30 a.m. And I'm going to give you guys a $10 off coupon that is good just for this weekend. Okay, it's a $27 workshop. It is only it's only $17 with a $10 off coupon. Okay. All right. Yep. Yay. You're in. Thank you. Yeah. So what you'll do, and well, before I get to how to sign up, just to walk all through, what we're going to talk about is what we talked about today, but actually how to find these jobs, verify them, and this entire process. So if you're looking online for jobs that are like night jobs and you're like, I never see night jobs, and I was just looking for night jobs and you posted a night job, but I didn't see that night job, that might mean you need help with, fine tuning how to find these online jobs. So we're going to learn about where to find the best online jobs, how to verify pay, benefits, and other important job information. And then I'm going to give y'all an easy hack to maximize the number of applications you submit. And there's been a lot of folks who have gone through the workshop. We did this in March, and then we did one in October. And so a few years ago, or a couple years ago, I did this workshop, but this is the new and improved one. So if you didn't attend the October or the March workshop, then this one is, you still need to sign up, because we've updated it since I first did this back in like 2022 or something like that. So that's why it's called 2.0. So if you were at the very first one 2 years ago, sign up. And if you were here in October or March, you've already done this one. But I'm bringing it back because a lot of folks said that they missed it. So we're going to learn all that. You will get a chance to do a Q&A at the end. So there's a 30-minute Q&A that we'll do. Ask whatever questions you have, and then you'll get steps to make sure that you can apply all of this after we are together, because it's no good if you don't know how to do it on your own, and you get the replay. And I'm telling y'all, let me hold on a second. I don't have time to do all that extra stuff. Okay. I want to sit on here and chat with y'all, but I really do gotta go. So let me show y'all one more thing, and I'll have to get back on live sometime. But when you are registering, what you'll do is you'll fill out your info, and then to put in the coupon, you want to use coupon code JOBS. Okay, use coupon code JOBS and you'll apply it and you can get $10 off. And if you don't have the software and you want to try out the resume builder software, you can do a trial of the software here. And oh, I need to also I'm going to add where you can anyway, yeah, I keep getting off on tangents, y'all. There's a lot of stuff that I'd love to talk to y'all about. But anyway, if you already have the software, you don't have to toggle that, and then you can register. So I hope everybody can register. This workshop really is for anyone who is in that job seeking stage. So whether you are coming from the traditional work world, maybe you've worked at McDonald's or you've worked at, Kroger or Foot Locker, and you want to work from home, you can do that. Okay. You don't have to have, special fancy degrees. There's work from home jobs at all education and experience levels. Even if you have worked from home before, it's always good to understand what you did well in that process so that you can, double up and, have even more success. And one other thing that I want y'all to understand is you really don't want to buy into the hype that there are no jobs out here. There are plenty of jobs out here. And like, I literally prove that every single day when I share jobs. Okay. I prove that every single day when I share jobs that there are no shortages of jobs. It's just people aren't aware of these jobs. That's why I have the mega list of jobs. If you are not familiar with the mega list of jobs, Hear me now? Testing, testing. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me? No sound? Let's see. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. Okay, so y'all can't hear me. Okay, what I was saying was that was so weird. So I was trying to show y'all the mega list of jobs, and I was bringing it over from one screen to the next, and then both of my screens went black. Then the internet went out, and then my camera started messing up, and then my mic, and you know what? I was saying it's probably a raggedy scammer trying to get me. So go to the Megalista jobs. There's 698 companies on there. Sign up for the workshop. I'm gonna turn my computer off because I don't know, folks can do all sorts of stuff these days, and it was probably just the internet. But I hope you guys have a safe and blessed weekend. I had to get going anyhow. So I will see y'all, God willing, on Monday with my next YouTube video. And I hope to see everybody at the workshop. This coupon code JOBS gets you $10 off so that you can attend the workshop for just $17. And it's good this weekend only. And we are going to meet not tomorrow, Saturday, but next Saturday at 8 a.m. So y'all get your coffee, have your little breakfast ready, be ready to take notes. I can't wait. This workshop is really, I love doing this workshop. Okay, you guys. Have a safe and blessed weekend. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.